yield curve control, getting out of that will be studied or is likely to come in the coming meetings without giving too much in the way of guidance. That's the sort of thing that could set off some very strong moves in the yen initially, because probably if they get their decision out in time, bond futures won't be trading, let alone cash bonds, but we'll see. That is, of course, one of the other difficulties. Because they're taking quite a bit of time with the decision, they could end up coming out after that lunchtime break is finished or close to when it finishes, and that has traditionally helped to add to the disruptions in markets on the day.
And Paul, it is also rate decision day for the RBA. It is expected to stand pat, but it is about the messaging.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Haz. We're not expecting a move unlike the Bank of Japan, but what we are expecting to keep an eye on here is the rhetoric, because it was in the minutes of the last meeting that we heard that a rate increase was on the table for the Reserve Bank of Australia, but they didn't end up going down that path. But it did illustrate just what a priority inflation is for the RBA, and that sentiment was reflected in their decision at the last meeting as well, in the statement that inflation is a priority. Right now it's running at 4.1%, but the number that we got in January, the monthly indicator, was 3.4%, so it is at least heading in the right direction, but still well outside the Reserve Bank's target band. Other things we're going to be watching around inflation, I mentioned inflation, unemployment, that also came in a bit hotter than expected in January, and growth's been slowing down as well. So the conversation around the possibility of a technical recession in Australia is a live one. That's going to be something for the RBA to consider going forward as well. But as for the decision itself, no change, 4.35%, but the language going to be all important, Haz.
And it's still quite tricky for the RBA, yeah, Gulf. It is stuck in between the BOJ as well as the Fed.
Sorry, could you repeat the question, Haz?
Yeah, it's pretty tricky for the RBA. It is stuck between the BOJ as well as the Fed.
Yeah, well, the RBA is stuck as well because its economy is actually performing worse than a lot of other economies. So there is that pressure towards, maybe they've done enough on the rate hike front, but then on the other side of things, they don't really dare go down that path until they're clear the Fed is going to go down that path because of the potential impact on the currency. So to some extent, the RBA may actually be happy that the Fed and the BOJ are taking so much of the focus right now. On the other hand, precisely because of that, their hands are kind of tied. They're definitely stuck with a very difficult path if they want to actually shift policy at all. By the same token, being stuck on the policy front means that extra focus on what they say. They could readily say something that is interpreted as signaling they're more dovish than they really intend to be, especially if that's compared with what's going on with the Fed.
Bloomberg's Paul Allen and Garfield Reynolds, who leads our Markets Live coverage in Asia. Thank you so much for your insights. Of course, the RBA set with its decision at the bottom of the hour. The BOJ, meantime, we're still waiting. The yen trading just a tad higher versus the USD. Plenty more ahead. Keep it here with us. This is Bloomberg.